next work session is the recycling haulers update. Mr. Neal.
I would say as Mr. Neal's approaching here, I want to thank the haulers who are here today, as well as representatives from CVWMA, and hope you sense that this is a team approach and a team process that's really evolved itself over the last 10 years, not just over the last 10 months, as we, again, are trying to position our people, our communities, all of them, including the businesses, for the best ways in which they can make choices for themselves to recycle, solid waste disposal, and we're here as a county, and you're going to hear from Mr. Neal about all of our other expanded opportunities for those that may not necessarily need a private resource to do so. So, Mr. Neal.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Casey, members of the board. Thank you for this opportunity to present about our recycling efforts in Chesterfield County. As you know, previously we identified 5 vendors that expressed interest in providing recycling services, and we talked about that during one of the fall Board of Supervisors meetings. And so today we're going to do a brief update on each vendor's efforts in this transition process. But before we get started, I want to acknowledge our guests that are in the room with us. So start out with Kim Hines from CVWMA, Bob Dunn, the CVWMA Board Chair. Mr. Dunn, good seeing you. Carrie Drain, CVWMA board member. We have Jim Talpas from Choice Waste. We have Matt Terrell and Victoria Norsini from TFC. Matt and Victoria, glad you're here. We have Lindsay Horn from Waste Management. And then lastly, we have Jay Zook and Deshaun Wilshire from GFL. So with that, we'll talk a little bit about these efforts by the vendors, but also talk about some of the things that we're doing to enhance our service model as we do this transition into privatized recycling. So specifically, we're working towards resuming 7 days a week operation at our 2 convenience centers. That was part of the budget presentation, and appreciate the board's support and approval of that budgetary adjustment. We feel that that's going to be a tremendous help in providing alternate resources, alternate options for our citizens to continue to recycle. Also, we are looking at establishing drop-off boxes in 6 of our parks: Horner Park, Huguenot Park, Rockwood, Daniel, Goyne, and Dodd Parks. Each location will be able to take glass and does not require any type of material separation. So that term that we talk about as single stream recycling at those facilities. So we're going to work with Recreation and Parks and identify the best location for each of those sites and whatever improvements we need to make at those sites. And again, that was part of our budget request that you all approved. So I do appreciate your support with that. So we're going to get into each let me go back one here. Additional discussion. So as I mentioned before, we are in continuous discussions with our vendors, with the vendors that you see here. And that feedback that we're getting and we're giving to the vendors helps us and make sure that we're keeping the citizens engaged and informed as far as what's coming up. So with the vendors that are here today, we've added them to our website as far as being able for citizens to contact them if they're interested in recycling. If there are other vendors out there that are interested in providing recycling or partnering to help provide recycling services, we can certainly add them to the website and make sure that they are brought up to speed as far as the efforts that have been going on. As we mentioned during the fall presentation, right now we have about 18 HOAs that are being served by the recycling efforts that are outside of the CVWMA contract, and that's about 10,000 households. So we expect that effort to continue and grow, particularly with our partners here as they are doing their outreach to the citizens. Also want to mention, as a side note, our Earth Day celebration that was held on April the 14th. We had about 500 participants and 30 vendors. Many of the vendors here were participating in that event, and just a great opportunity for the community to come out, ask questions about the recycling program or any other environmental sustainability efforts that we have going on as a county. So with that, we'll transition into starting to talk about each of the vendors, and want to make sure I point this out. This is being done in alphabetical order. No particular order of favor. It is alphabetically as listed on the website. So we'll start out with Choice. Just that they have been communicating with their customers through letters, calls, text messages, and emails. They've provided an opt-out model of service to their existing customers. So what that means is the customers that are currently receiving trash service from Choice received communication from them saying, starting with the recycling program, if you want to opt out, you have to let us know to opt out. Otherwise, you'll be included on the bill. They've set up a schedule for 3 phases of deployment of the recycling program. So the first phase being about 12,000 customers. That was done first part of April. We have another round coming up next month, about 14,000 customers. And then lastly, in June, first part of June, there's about 11,000 customers that will have carts deployed to them unless they've opted out. The new carts are part of is included in the price that they have, so there's no additional fee to buy a cart or to lease a cart. It is included in their monthly price. The trash service will continue to be weekly, but will be recycling. They will be recycling every other week. Do want to point out, Choice's their recycling trucks will have magnets on them to identify them as recycling trucks, separate from their trash pickup trucks. So just to make sure that there's no confusion in that. And common theme with the vendors, the trash bin has one color lid, typically a dark blue or gray or green colored lid, and the recycling lid is typically a yellow lid, just so that the drivers can identify which one they need to pick up, and also the citizens will know which one is trash and which one is recycling. We have GFL next. Their existing customer base, they can contact GFL directly for additional information on recycling. They have about 1,000 customers that have enrolled in recycling since we've announced the transition back in fall of 2022. And they're also, they are working with currently several homeowners associations, some of the larger subdivisions in the county: Magnolia Green, Fox Creek, Founders Bridge, Five Forks, Hampton Parks, and all total about 10,000 households that they were previously serving outside of the CVWMA contract, and they continue to serve those homes as well. They've identified separate trucks for recycling. The recycling will be done every other week, typically on a Thursday. The new carts are included in their price, and their trash pickup will continue to be a weekly service, but will be on an alternate day so that they keep it separate from the recycling pickup. TFC, this is the vendor that had the CVWMA contract. They've established a proposed service area, and that's what the map is on the lower corner of the slide here. And so they sent mailers out to the customers in the proposed service area, and they've been advertising through social media campaigns and things of that nature. Customers, they would need to opt in to get service starting July 1. The recycling service, they are doing recycling services only. TFC is a recycling only company. The service area is shown in the map, and just to kind of give you a frame of reference of the service area that they're proposing, this is about covers over 90% of the prior customers from the CVWMA contract. That's being shown in that grayed out area. So we're getting pretty good coverage. Again, the customers would need to opt in, contact TFC to be able to opt into that service. But there's a significant number that's being covered with this proposed service area. We have waste management. Notices were sent to existing customers. Their customer service center has been receiving calls and inquiries since we've made the announcement. New carts with the yellow lids, as you see on the picture here, the one with the yellow lid there. They are collaborating with TFC for recycling services. And so their trash and recycling days would remain the same And they're also working with non-exclusive contracts with some HOAs. So again, there's a common theme of trying to identify these homeowners associations where they can get in and be able to provide trash and recycling on a large-scale basis. The economies of scale, I think, will certainly help the vendors out as well. And then lastly, we'll wrap up with Zans. Zans was not able to make it today. He had a prior commitment. Carlin Zanders had a prior commitment, so he was unable to make it today. But what they've decided to do with their business model is to partner directly with TFC. The current Zans customers will receive a separate bill from TFC for recycling services. And so they're working with TFC to develop a retention program for their existing customers. And they're also looking at contract services with HOAs that are in the works as well. They do have one that they currently have, but they're looking to expand that. So that's where we are with our vendors and with our internal efforts. And so I would like to turn it over to the board for any questions. We have the vendors here. If you have questions directly for the vendors, be glad to answer those questions for you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And I just want to say thank you for your work on this, Mr. Neal. It's been very well received, and we have had a couple of questions, and I've got a couple of neighborhoods in Clover Hill in particular that continue to have trash service behind their home. In other words, they store their can behind the homes. It's not a curbside, and I wanted to get a sense of if any of the vendors here today were offering that type of service as opposed to curbside, but service that goes around the home, picks up the trash can, empties it, and then takes it back. Is that on the menu, as it were, today?
Going through the website material, Zan's Refuse offers that service, and I'll open it up to the vendors here to answer for your own companies. And come on up here to the table beside me.
Actually, y'all just identify the company.
Choice Waste. I can say that we do only offer curbside. So if they have back door for trash, they can put it at the curb for recycling. I think that's what TFC was doing previously. I'm not sure, but yeah, if it's at the curb, we'll service it.
Jay Zook with GFL. We do have backdoor services. It is something that has become more and more difficult to find the personnel that want to do that type of work. It's forced us to really look hard at rates and the services we do provide. But we do currently offer that style of service, yes.
Good afternoon. TFC Recycling. Like what you've heard before, we offer a curbside service, just based on the service offering, a continuity of service, being able to find staff to do the type of manual collection that is being requested is just not in our wheelhouse. We are a curbside only company.
We have one more vendor come on up.
Waste management, and just to echo with the other haulers here, we are the same as far as curbside service offerings.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yep.
How is it going signing up new clients?
Well, I'll start. So for waste management, we will be going live next week for our residents to be able to sign up online, but we are taking calls and able to start to sign them up effective this week over the phones.
So our process is the one that was different. So we're obviously opted everybody in initially. So we think it's going better than expected. There is a lot of questions that we're answering, but we're trying to send out a lot of communication to answer those questions.
Yeah, I think for us as well, we fairly large customer base. We took a little different approach to allow the customer to decide what style of service they would want. We have a number of people that have reached out. With those that have reached out, a lot have signed up, but several have said that they're going to wait until the end of term to come back and request services. We've also talked internally about doing some direct calls in addition to what we have done to this point, but it's been successful.
Likewise, we've amped up our external and social media presence in the last 45 days, and we feel that the response has been good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a question for TFC. What is the monthly cost for recycling?
$9, sir.
Does that change at all when you're partnering with Zans or with Waste Management?
It does not change for us, no, sir.
Okay, so what is the benefit of just signing up with you separately as opposed to partnering with Zans or with Waste Management?
I think you may have to ask them that question.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interject, Dr. Miller, because as a businessman myself, I would think it would be a good way to get more folks to sign up. Generally speaking, and it'd probably be a good business case for both TFC and these other folks who maybe are ramping up their trucks and labor, I would imagine. But I'll let them speak for themselves.
It was a decision for us to just collaborate with TFC based on our current business model.
So there's not a financial benefit to be able to, when you're combining them up, as far as the recycling is concerned, right, in the pure such?
As far as the recycling is concerned, we offer the same service to everybody. We don't have a trash service. We can't bundle services. There's no economy of scale for us to gain a competitive advantage over any other competitor in the marketplace. So we've taken the approach of even across the board for us. What we market is what we're selling.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, are you altering the days that you pick up trash and recycling? Particularly, I want to ask each of you, are you altering that, and are you doing any special deals for signing up new customers? Are you contemplating that secondarily? And what has been your general experience in dealing with customers as they attempt to transition? Because I can tell you, I receive a lot of passionate calls about recycling. They really are passionate about recycling. And the last question is, are there any gaps in the county that you see that need to be filled? And of course, Mr. O'Neal may want to cover that. Have we covered the entire county, or there are gaps that we envision may occur?
Well, I'll start off with that part of it. That was part of the reason why we picked the 6 parks that we did, to give us a broader coverage area, to give citizens the opportunities where they don't have to drive as far, particularly coming to our 2 convenience centers. So that was some of the thought behind that. And then I'll turn it over to the other vendors as far as service areas and service days.
So for us, service days, we don't typically have trash and recycle same day. They are typically separate service days. That's not to say that we don't have some that are. For the new services that we're bringing online, we've targeted a service day, and then as we grow, we'll break those routes out over multiple days. That's what made best sense for us. We had a number of recycle routes already established within the county, so they were pretty well at their max capacities. So this is a new rebuild for us.
Okay, thank you. Choice, too.
So all of our recycling is going to be on the same day as trash.
Okay.
Yeah. So we basically split the service day in half, gave you a red and a blue. So it'll be the same day. As far as the thoughts from the customers, it's been mixed. We think that through communication, they find it easy when they talk to us. So as long as they can call us and they feel comfortable calling, it's gone really good. When they have questions, it is important that they reach out to us because, we're here to help and we want it to be a good experience.
Thank you.
Chairman. One more, I'm sorry. Is there anything that the county can do to help facilitate additional communication that would be helpful for all of you?
I think, quite honestly, just the promotion of recycling, period. It's a necessary offering in every community, and certainly this community. It's a dynamic community, and we'd hate to see it go backwards at all.
I'd just say that we're almost through it, so it's looking, we're towards the end here. We're getting there. It's actually kind of feeling our way through, and people are starting to understand what's ahead. So I think a lot of the questions are answered, and I think this is all going to go a lot smoother 3 to 6 months from now. So I think we're good.
Mr. Engel?
Mr. Chair, how many of you are offering services to multifamily or areas that were not previously able to be served through the CVWMA contract?
For the multifamilies, we've had a number of multifamilies even prior to this changeover that we've serviced for recycle. A lot of times with a different style of collection, more with commercial collection as opposed to cart collection. We've had a lot more interest from townhouse type developments for questions around recycling, but we feel like it's gone pretty well.
From a TFC standpoint, I'd echo those comments. Multifamily recycling is a different animal than the residential single-family curbside unit, so it's a specialized service, but we've offered that in the past and will continue to do so.
Thank you.
I was just the same, just to echo the others, it's service with a different style vehicle and different style container, and they're usually contracted directly with their hauler of choice.
What we're looking for is to see that increase as well. So I'm hoping that all of the discussion on recycling that's taken place will ultimately expand the access to all of our citizens in the county through your services and through the recycling centers and through the parks that we will allow people to bring and drop off their recycling. And ultimately, we looked at having a free market solution will bring a lower cost over a longer period of time to our citizens. So thank you.
I guess, thank you very much. I think as a follow-up later on, after full implementation, one of the things that would interest the board would be what the actual participation rate is in the community. We know that we had about 57,000 households that were participating prior to the switchover, and so I would be curious to have those numbers come back later to see where we're at. And then we'll be able to also look at what we're doing in the recycling centers as far as maybe what that tonnage is, as far as how much we have coming in where people are actually delivering it. But I do think in the long term, having a wider discussion about recycling like this has brought it back to the forefront, and perhaps some people who didn't think about it or didn't have an opportunity before will now participate. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I just might comment. I really appreciate your point because I'll reemphasize it's important to us that it's our expectation that recycling will increase. We have more citizens recycling. We know it's good for the economy and for our community. So we hope that you will share information with us, keep us informed as to the recycling rates, where they're going, and where we can enhance it and improve it. So we look forward to working with you in that regard. And thank you for being here today, and thank you for allowing us to offer a good service to our community, and always, hopefully, our lower costs. We want to be cost effective, and we'll be considerate of our citizens. So thank you.
So, Dr. Casey, if I may, on the amount of recycling that's going to occur, our vendors have agreed to provide those figures to us, and since we are still a part of CVWMA, those numbers will be recorded as well. So we're going to closely track those numbers to make sure we're seeing an increase and not a decrease. And so that's our expectation, particularly with the drop-off boxes and the expanded hours of the convenience centers. We want to give more opportunities for people to be able to do this recycling effort with us.
That was half of what I was going to say, Mr. Neal, so thank you. One, I do want to thank the haulers in particular. I think this is, again, a relationship that we've developed over the last year or so. I do want to thank TFC, really, the longstanding roles it's had through CVWMA as a middleman, and really the county layer as a middleman to the people then. But again, the TFC is a valued commodity, and again, a competitor in this line of business, and I know you're trying to retain those customers, and I got one of your flyers as well. So good marketing on your part, but I also respect the fact that this is a private sector industry just as much as it is in solid waste now amongst themselves. And this relationship that we're starting to foster, and hopefully the transparency is diversion rate, as it's termed. And the state has a definition for it. Us as a region, thankful to CVWMA as an entity, has been far above that rate. We're going to try and work with CVWMA with solid waste plans and other recycling plans to better be transparent about Chesterfield's share of it, and hopefully with the expanded solid waste convenience center hours that can take recyclable goods of all types, our parks and rec sites of all types, we can better track that to again achieve even greater goals for the community. And we recognize the fact that the 10-year contract that is coming to an end with TFC was written and negotiated during different times than what the last proposal was. And so just to be clear, is that everything that is being offered thus far by the private sector, and including TFC, is at a better rate than what was a service that could have been provided under our methodologies to our citizens. Because again, we have an opt-in program in Chesterfield. You've seen many neighborhoods actually work out their own agreements with haulers for recyclables, so the numerators and denominators, if you will, for the Chesterfield model may be and are different than some other localities that actually can define this as a different service. So we're very pleased that they've all formed, in essence, a competitive atmosphere and a service direct atmosphere to their customers. But we hope maybe through CVWMA annual updates and again, our website, which we're going to always keep current, that this topic is not over. And again, we're there to just ensure solid waste and recycling meet all the standards of our environmental stewardship program. Thank you.
Thank you.
One last question, Mr. Chairman, if I may. I thought I heard earlier, I want to confirm that you will provide bins for your customers coming up, and when would that take place approximately? And can you all respond to that, the bins to the individual homeowners, customers?
For us, as customers sign up, we just get them scheduled for delivery. Existing customers already have their bins.
I think Choice has already deployed their first round, is that right? And then they're going to do 2 more?
Right. We're actually done with the second round, so we only have the 1 round left. So what we're doing is delivering a full-size cart, just as big as the trash cart, to everybody.
All Choice customers.
Right.
Very good, thank you.
Mhm.
So I know a number of those are in Dale District, so I want to make sure my constituents are covered.
It's a
Thank
project
you.
for sure. It's a
Thank
big-
you,
yeah.
thank you.
And I want to give one last thanks to TFC before they just talked too, that they're the material recycling facility for many of the haulers already, and again, they are based in Chesterfield County, and we've appreciated you run a very good operation down there, sir.
Thank you, Dr.
It's a great facility, had the opportunity to tour it. It's,
Yes, sir.
I mean, I got to tell you, what the people actually have to do in there to recycle all this stuff it's a lot of hard work, quite frankly. It's amazing, and it's necessary, but I don't know, I think you need to do a promo video, because I think a lot of people probably have no idea what goes into, besides the fact of having to do the collection and get it there, but what you actually have to do to process it when it gets there.
Mr. Chair, sorry to belabor it, but with that, I do think if TFC, CVWMA, or all of you together could help us to put together some type of public announcement on how you properly recycle, because I know there's contaminants that make it into recycling, and there's different thought processes on what can be recycled and what can't. And if we could do a better job of helping inform your customers that will be coming forward, then hopefully we can divert more to recycling and less back to the landfills because it came in contaminated or with items that weren't able to be in there. So if you can help us figure out how to do that, we'd be glad to push that out through our communications as well.